I got together a colonist with all bad traits and zero skills, so I assembled a decent ideology and landed in the Arid Shrublands. Since he is slow and ugly, I decide to call him Useless. Afterwards, he decides to harvest wood on the rich soil. Useless then got some starter food on the lavish soil. He had somewhat food reserves if needed. He harvests everything and sets down a blueprint for a comfy home in the middle of the desert. Not for long, the traits already kick in, already torching the soil that would grow our future. Eventually, the event is over as he tries to save most of the berries. Useless moves on and works on steel for the stonecutter's table. Sandstone is the fastest working block, so even with zero skills, it shouldn't be hard to construct. In the night and long days, we worked quietly, far from society. A transport crash with a dromedary called Ambrosia appeared. Not long after, an Ambrosia sprout appeared as well. Randy Random is not so random, huh? Since Useless has the wimp trait, a simple food poisoning will down him. That is terrible. He starves himself but recovers and heads for food. It takes a really long time to construct his house, but eventually it is complete. A spike trap will work for the low wealth of his base. Useless was deep in his thoughts and in his sleep. In the morning, he mined and got another mental break. Food was an issue, so he decided to plant some soybeans, very slowly. Fortunately, he gets a work frenzy, which makes him work 200% faster. The base needed coolers and other power devices, so Useless mines components and steel. For the freezer, he planned a section to construct. Long days and sandstorm passes until he surpasses my expectations. A strange paper with the quest to defend the base arises. Useless nods and accepts. He changes his mind as he thinks death awaits. All the furniture got ablaze as he forgot to build everything out of stone. Smoke engulfed the structure. Eventually it ends as some items burn up. He rebuilt out of unburnable material. With a dynamite, Useless calculates the time until they run into it, successfully killing a pirate. The remaining pirates smashed into the base as Useless stands ready. The moment movement occurs, Useless reacts and throws. The spike trap plus the explosives downed him. The plan was performed perfectly. He tore the clothes out of them both and hauls it back into base. Defenses are back up as more pirates approach the base. Useless closes the door as one pirate dies, but suddenly another raid approaches. An android. As the pirate is distracted, Useless charges for the pirate, shooting her viciously. The android is killed as he backs up. At least he made her bleed. Peek and shoot works as she is in the open. Eventually he makes a risky play to kill her. Carlotta decides to tend to herself, which made her vulnerable. He looks her dead in the eyes until the stare killed her. Oh my, those eyes. Useless strips her and collects the clothing. The faction sends the well-deserved reward. Wonderful. During peaceful times, the furniture was rebuilt as Useless planned a perimeter for wind turbines. The bed was constructed back as ship launch quest arose. He then gets a raid. Or not. A pod crashed as Useless goes up to beat her up. He can then tend to her to increase medical points quickly. Zero medical is not viable. A mad ostrich chased after him, whom gets put down gently. For the perimeter, Useless moves and cuts stone blocks into fine brick-like blocks. A solo tribal then attacked, but of course guns are more powerful than bows. Useless baits for melee and backs up, which allows for close range shot, severely wounding the tribal, and we hit him down. Afterwards, work resumed as the wall is almost built, until he had yet another fire starting spree and got gutworms. The wall is finally completed as a wind turbine is planned for building, and the turbine is finally built. For freezers, more components are needed. A slaver arrives as he sells the advanced components in exchange for organ harvesting material. Now with gutworms, he needs twice as much food, so refrigeration is required. But 5 construction is needed for that, so Useless deconstructs some ship chunks. A psychic drone doesn't help as well. He scales up the growing operation to account for consumables. A massive crab from Alpha Animals crushes our walls down. He tried to hurt it for revenge, but it was no good. Not long after, Useless gets sad as another ostrich gets mad. The door was open, so it started nabbing on him. It eventually beat him down, but gets up instantly. Useless reaches for the gun next to him and shoots wonderfully. This time he got down for real though, but the ostrich got shot in the right lung, leading to internal bleeding and death. Useless got up again. If only the door was still there, he rebuilds it. To prevent food poisoning, a nutrient paste dispenser is planned for building. Another pod crash with the smallest goblin I've ever seen. Since he of course is an independent refugee, Useless kidnaps him and plans to harvest his organs as an independent farmer. He fails, but at least medical skill increases. Then Useless started more fires upon his food fields. Pyromaniac is the worst trait after all. Then a raid came and stepped on the spike trap. After a few hours, Useless decides to learn about batteries and solar panels. Before that though, he needed marble for his new bedroom since he wouldn't stop being depressed. A caravan arrived as well as a hostile one. This is perfect timing as they both will fight each other. The androids started shooting the tribals whilst we were in sad wander. Snipers decimated the tribals as they fled. It was a massacre. Useless looted the bodies for food. The bedrooms are finished as we get another quest. Except for some Glitter World medicine. They were outside the house now. One of them trips and dies. With the shotgun, Useless shot chunks out of him out. Another one came behind cover. With no time to react, the pirate dies. While this enemy was distracted, he was shot from behind 2 times. And the quest was finally complete. The fields were regrown with wood and cloth. Another enemy raided us, but got hit by meteorites. Opening the tomb up and releasing mechanoids. How random Rimworld can be. It looked like they were approaching, but that wasn't the case. Useless worked indoors to stay away from the virus. Except this time, the virus were the mechanoids. As the night was calm, Useless suddenly got downed. It turns out, because of the pain of the gut worms, he had been downed. There is no way for him to get up. Of course, right after we get a ton of positive events. His cells were devoid of nutrition. He got skinnier as food couldn't be fed. I accept a random quest and ignore. We then get a raid, which was glorifying. The orcs lost though. Useless passes away unfortunately after a wanderer wants to join. I accept. She strips the previous colonist in honor, and to cure this down girl, my shot her. She could do all of that, so at least she can be named into something useful. Useful research deep into the sandstorm, carrying out the legacy. With that, thank you for watching, and if you're bored, then watch these videos next.